How's it going, everybody? I wanted to show you this program, the software that I just found on GitHub earlier today. I thought it was pretty cool. It's called Patat, or Patat. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's based on the French word potato. But basically, Patat is a presentation software that runs in your terminal. So it's a slideshow basically in your terminal that uses Markdown. And uses Pandoc also to include some extra input formats. So there's a lot you can do with it. And I'm just going to jump in here into an example that I have. There's the title, has my name down here, and here's the slide count on this side. So you can see we have this little title up here and some information. Patat is a small tool that allows you to show presentation using only an ANSI terminal. And here's a link as well that goes to the GitHub. And it stands for, even though it just means potato in French, it stands for presentation atop the ANSI terminal. And ANSI, I guess, is just like a character set. And even if you don't have an ANSI terminal, there's options to force it, so it'll still work for the most part. Here in the next page, there is our installation. You can use Brew, and you can install Patat, and you can use Debian's apt repositories package manager, and it has it as well. But even if it's not there, you can install it from the source. There's all the instructions using Stack and Cabal. And there's also some other things about other package managers that have the pre-built Patat. That's basically just like this. And here's some options. You do W, that's to watch the file. I guess that's to see if there's any changes made. Force is for the ANSI thing, where I said if it's not ANSI, it'll still work. Dump just dumps out the whole thing as a plain text. And version just tells you your version number. And it's a little bit hard to show in here itself, but I was trying to show how you do code. But it's similar, it's basically just markdown code. You just have it like that, and you close it like that. Once we jump into it, we can see what I did for this example. And it's Q, you control everything with arrow keys, and it's Q to quit. And if you go in here, Patat help, and also on the README, but you can see all the controls. So these are ones I mentioned, and here's controls for actually controlling it while you're in your slideshow. So you can jump and space and enter to move the next slide, and do backspace to go back. Of course, I was using the arrow keys as I mentioned. And then you can even jump back and forth between 10 slides at a time. You can go to the first and last slide, and you can even go to the number that you want. And you can reload the file. So I guess if you have it running and you edit it somewhere else, you can reload it live. And here we can go into our actual file. It's just a markdown. So right here, we have a title and the author. So as you remember, the title was up here and the author was down here. And that stayed throughout every single slide, basically. And then this was the little header that I had at the beginning. There was this header. And you split up the slides with these little dashes. That splits up and tells you which slide is what. I believe if you don't use these dashes, it talks about how you can also just use the pound for your headers, and it will make a new slide as well. As you can see right here, he split off the slide in this example, and then in this example, he has other ones. He says this is a slide, and this is another slide, and that's without the split. And we have our link, just like Markdown, and here's our code. I just put shell. I don't know if it actually does anything at all, but you have the three little dash. My mind's kind of going blank. I can't remember what these are called, but it's just right to the left of your 1 on your keyboard, and that's just how you put the code in. And you can do this, these dashes, for creating list and bullet points and whatnot. And here's the code that I was trying to show, the example of the code. That was a little bit buggy. And here are these subheaders. I don't know if I even showed that, but just Patat and Patat.md, and here's this, the subheaders. I guess it doesn't really do too much, even though on here it says they can split off into individual slides, but I think that's if you're not already doing these dashes to begin with. So that's alright. But yeah, so that's what this is. I thought it was kind of cool. It's easy to install. It's super easy to use. And if you ever already doing a markdown for your README, or if you're doing a markdown for taking notes on a project or something you're working on, or even school notes, It's a really easy way to make those notes into a presentation. And it looks nice. There's even some information about theming where you can do some color stuff. And I guess you can display an image. I'm not sure how that works. But yeah, there's a lot more details in the README file on how to do stuff. Like I mentioned, it uses the Pandoc extension, so there's other features that you can do as well. I just wanted to show this quick example of it. And another thing is the dump, so you can do patat.md, and it just creates it all like that. And you can just copy and paste that in case you want it somewhere else. I just thought it looks kind of nice. And the force makes it so, as I mentioned, if it's not ANSI, it does it, so that's the -F. One thing, though, that you can't tab to autocomplete, which is something that I feel like most things have. But you can't do that in here. But yeah, I just want to showcase this. The link for this repository will be in the description, so check it out yourself, and see you guys again next time. Bye.